Olivia Mason woke up feeling strange. Today was different, though she could not explain why. The sun shone through her window like any other day in Bay Ridge, the small coastal town she called home. She got ready for work, brushing her long brown hair and putting on her usual outfit, jeans, a blue shirt, and her worn but comfortable boots. As a marine biologist, Olivia spent most days by the ocean. She loved studying the creatures that lived beneath the waves. Today she was going to collect samples from tide pools along the shore. But first, coffee. She always needed coffee. While waiting for her coffee to brew, Olivia looked out her kitchen window. The sky seemed darker than it should be at 7 a.m. Strange clouds moved in patterns she had never seen before. For a brief moment, she thought she saw lights flickering above the clouds. Probably just lightning, she said to herself, though she felt uneasy. At the beach, Olivia worked alone. She knelt by a tide pool, carefully collecting small organisms in sample jars. The wind picked up and the waves grew larger. Something was changing in the weather, but the forecast had promised a clear day. As she worked, Olivia could not shake the feeling that someone was watching her. She looked up several times but saw no one. The beach was empty except for a few seagulls hunting for food. By noon, dark clouds covered the sky completely. The air felt charged with electricity. Olivia decided to head home early. As she packed her equipment, a strange silence fell over the beach. Even the seagulls stopped making noise. The waves seemed to freeze for a second. That's when she saw her. A woman stood at the edge of the water. Olivia had not seen her approach. The woman was tall with perfect posture and skin that seemed to glow slightly. Her hair was dark and moved as if in water, though there was no wind now. But her eyes were what made Olivia stop and stare. They were amber, an impossible shade that seemed to shine from within. The strange woman looked directly at Olivia and smiled. Then she spoke, her voice somehow clear over the sound of waves. 300 years, the woman said. 300 years of searching, and here you are. Olivia dropped her sample jar. What? Who are you? The woman did not answer. Instead, she walked toward the water. Olivia expected her to stop at the edge, but she kept walking, stepping into the waves as if they were not there. Olivia watched in shock as the woman walked deeper and deeper until the water should have been over her head. Then she was gone, with no splash, no disturbance in the water at all. Olivia ran to the shore, searching the waves, but there was no sign of the woman. Had she imagined it? She looked down at her hands, which were shaking. That night, strange dreams filled Olivia's sleep. She saw stars she could not name and worlds she had never imagined. In her dreams, she flew through space without a ship, feeling the cold emptiness against her skin but somehow not dying. She saw a planet with 3 moons and cities that floated in the air, and always, the woman with amber eyes watched her. Olivia woke at 3:17 a.m., gasping for air. Her bedroom was dark except for a small blue light. She turned on her lamp and saw something on her nightstand that had not been there when she went to sleep. It was a small object, about the size of a golf ball, with a smooth surface that seemed to shift colors as she looked at it. Mostly it glowed, blue, pulsing gently like a heartbeat. Olivia reached out to touch it. As her fingers made contact, the object grew warmer. Tiny symbols appeared on her skin where she touched it, glowing for a few seconds before fading. They looked like no language Olivia had ever seen. The next morning, Olivia called in sick to work. She could not stop looking at the strange object. She tried taking pictures of it with her phone, but the images came out blurry, as if the thing refused to be captured. By evening, Olivia had convinced herself that she needed to return to the beach. Maybe the woman would be there again. Maybe she would explain what was happening. The beach was empty when she arrived. The sun was setting, turning the water golden. Olivia walked to the spot where she had seen the woman disappear and stood looking out at the ocean. "I know you're there," she said, feeling silly but determined. "You can't just show up, say something weird, and then disappear into the water. That's not how things work." No one answered. Waves crashed on the shore. Seagulls called in the distance. Then, a voice behind her said, "Actually, that is exactly how things work for me." Olivia spun around. The woman stood there now wearing what looked like a silver jumpsuit that fit her perfectly. Up close, Olivia could see that her skin had a slight blue tint and her amber eyes had no pupils. "Who are you?" Olivia asked, her voice shaking slightly. "My name is Nyrel," the woman said. "I am the last of the Kalians, and you, Olivia Mason, are carrying something that belongs to my people." "How do you know my name? What am I carrying?" Nyrel smiled. It was a kind smile, but somehow sad. "I have known your name for centuries, though you have not always been called that. As for what you carry," she reached out and placed her hand over Olivia's heart. "It is in here, and here." Her other hand touched Olivia's forehead. Olivia felt a strange warmth where Nyrel touched her. Images flashed in her mind. Stars, ships, faces of people who looked like Nyrel. "I don't understand," Olivia whispered. "You will," Nyrel promised. "But first we need to leave. They know I have found you. They will be coming." "Who will be coming? I can't just leave. I have a job, a life here." Nyrel looked up at the sky, which was growing dark. "Your life here is about to change whether you come with me or not. I offer you protection. They offer only death." As if to emphasize her point, a low rumble shook the ground. In the distance over the ocean, the clouds began to swirl unnaturally. "What is that?" Olivia asked, pointing. "That," Nyrel said grimly, "is why we need to leave now." Olivia stared at the swirling clouds over the ocean. They formed a pattern that no natural storm would make. The center began to glow with an eerie purple light. "We have minutes, not hours," Nyrel said, taking Olivia's arm. "Please, you must. Trust me." Before Olivia could answer, the sound of cars pulling up made them both turn. 3 black SUVs stopped at the beach parking lot. Men and women in dark suits got out. They moved with purpose toward Olivia and Nyrel. "Too late," Nyrel muttered. "They're already here." "Who are they?" Olivia asked, feeling trapped between the strange people on the beach and the unnatural storm over the water. "Your government. They detected my ship when I arrived. They've been tracking unusual energy for weeks." A woman stepped forward from the group. She had short blonde hair and a serious face. "Olivia Mason? I'm Agent Kate Winters. We need you to come with us for your protection." Nyrel stepped in front of Olivia. "She is under my protection." Agent Winters did not look surprised to see Nyrel. "We know what you are," she said calmly. "We've been monitoring your activity since you entered our atmosphere." "Then you know what's coming," Nyrel replied, pointing to the storm. Agent Winters glanced at the swirling clouds. For the first time, she looked worried. She turned to her team. "We need to move. Now." To Olivia and Nyrel, she said, "Both of you come with us. We have a secure facility nearby." Olivia hesitated. She didn't know who to trust. The strange alien woman she had just met, or her own government who seemed to know about aliens. Nyrel leaned close to Olivia. "They cannot protect you from what's coming, but I need to know if you have the object I left with you." "The blue, glowing thing?" "Yes, it's at my house." Nyrel nodded. "Then we go with them for now. We need to get that object." They allowed Agent Winters to lead them to the SUVs. As they drove away from the beach, Olivia looked back. The storm was growing, and now she could see something dark moving at its center. "What is that?" she asked Nyrel, who sat beside her in the back seat. "Voidwalkers," Nyrel said quietly. "Ancient enemies of my people. They hunt us across the stars. They hunt what you carry." Agent Winters, driving the SUV, caught Olivia's eye in the mirror. "We've been preparing for first contact for decades, Ms. Mason. We just didn't expect it to happen through a civilian." "I'm just a marine biologist," Olivia said. "I don't understand any of this." "You are much more," Nyrel told her. "Your bloodline was chosen 300 years ago when my people visited Earth. We were running from the Voidwalkers then too. We hid something precious in your ancestors' genetic code. The SUV turned onto the road leading to Olivia's small house near the beach. 2 more government vehicles were already there. "They work fast," Agent Winters said. "We need to get whatever it is and leave quickly." Inside the house, Olivia went straight to her bedroom. The blue object still sat on her nightstand, pulsing with light. When she picked it up, it grew warmer and the pulsing quickened. Narelle entered the room and gasped. "The beacon," she whispered. "It's responding to you already." She looked at Olivia with new respect. "The connection is stronger than I hoped." Agent Winters appeared in the doorway. "We need to go. Our satellites show multiple anomalies entering the atmosphere." They hurried back to the vehicles. As they pulled away from Olivia's house, she looked back one last time at the place she had called home for 5 years. Somehow, she knew she would not see it again. "Where are you taking us?" Narelle asked Agent Winters. "A secure underground facility about an hour from here. It was built to withstand nuclear attacks. It should keep us safe while we figure this out." Narelle shook her head. "No human structure can keep out the Voidwalkers for long, but it will give us time." As they drove through the night, Olivia held the blue object in her hands. It continued to pulse, and now it seemed to be growing slightly brighter. "What is this thing?" she asked Narelle. "We call it a beacon. It's a key that unlocks what's hidden inside you." "Inside me? What's inside me?" Narelle took a deep breath. "My people, the Kalians, were once a great civilization. We explored the stars and made contact with many species. The Voidwalkers were jealous of our technology. They attacked without warning, destroying our worlds. A small group of us escaped. We came to Earth 300 years ago." "Why Earth?" Agent Winters asked, listening closely. "Your people were still developing, but we saw potential in you. Your DNA was compatible with ours. We chose certain families to carry our legacy." "My family?" Olivia asked. Narelle nodded. "Your ancestor agreed to carry a special genetic code. We modified a section of what humans now call junk DNA, parts that don't seem to have a purpose. But it does have a purpose. It contains the astral archive, a living record of our entire civilization." The SUV turned onto a small dirt road that led into dense woods. The other vehicles followed closely. "So I have alien DNA?" Olivia was trying to make sense of it all. "Not exactly. You have human DNA that was programmed to store information, like a living hard drive that passes from parent to child. The information stays dormant until activated. And that's what this does?" Olivia held up the beacon. "Yes. It was designed to find the carrier and wake the archive." Agent Winters stopped the SUV in front of what looked like an abandoned warehouse. The other vehicles pulled up beside them. "We're here," she announced. As they got out, a deep rumble shook the ground. Everyone looked up. The night sky was clear here, filled with stars. But then the stars began to disappear, one by one, as if something huge was passing in front of them. "They found us," Narelle said grimly. Agent Winters ushered them quickly toward the warehouse. Inside, she pressed her hand against a hidden scanner. A section of the floor slid open, revealing stairs leading down. "Everybody in," she ordered. "Now." As they descended the stairs, the building above them shook. Dust fell from the ceiling. Underground, they entered a large concrete room filled with computers and monitoring equipment. People in military uniforms and lab coats moved around with purpose. Everyone stopped when Narelle entered. "This is our guest," Agent Winters announced. "She has information we need." A man in a general's uniform stepped forward. "I'm General Harris. We've been monitoring unusual activity in orbit for the past week. Are you saying you know what it is?" "I know exactly what it is," Narelle said. "And unless you help us, your world will face the same fate as mine." The general looked at Olivia. "And who is she?" "She carries the key to saving both our peoples," Narelle explained. "But we need to act quickly." Olivia still held the beacon. It was now glowing brightly enough to cast shadows in the room. "It's never done that before," Narelle said, looking concerned. Suddenly the beacon floated out of Olivia's hands. It hovered, In the air between them, spinning faster and faster, the blue light grew until it filled the room. "What's happening?" Olivia cried. "The archive is waking," Nirel whispered. The beacon shot a beam of light directly at Olivia's chest. When it hit her, she gasped. Her body lifted slightly off the ground. Her eyes began to glow with the same blue light. Everyone in the room backed away except Nirel, who stepped closer. "Olivia," she called. "Can you hear me?" Olivia's voice when she spoke sounded strange, as if many people were speaking at once. "We hear you, last of the Kalians. The archive is open." The underground room fell silent. Everyone stared at Olivia as she floated a few inches off the ground, her eyes glowing blue. The beacon continued to shine its light on her chest. Nirel moved closer. "Archive, we need your help. The Voidwalkers have found us." Olivia's head turned to look at Nirel. When she spoke, her voice still sounded like many people speaking at once. "The Voidwalkers must not obtain the knowledge we contain. This vessel is not yet ready for full access." "Vessel?" Agent Winters repeated. "You mean Olivia?" "This human carries our legacy," the voices said through Olivia. "But the transformation is incomplete." Suddenly, the building above them shook violently. Dust and small pieces of concrete fell from the ceiling. Alarm sirens began to wail. "They're here," Nirel said. "We're out of time." General Harris grabbed a radio. "Status report," a panicked voice answered. "Sir, something is tearing through the warehouse. Our weapons have no effect." "Evacuate all personnel to the lower levels," the general ordered. He turned to Nirel. "What can stop these things?" "Nothing you have," Nirel said. She looked at Olivia. "We need to leave. I must get her to my ship." The light from the beacon suddenly cut off. Olivia dropped to the floor, gasping. Her eyes returned to normal. "What happened?" she asked, looking confused. "The archive spoke through you," Nirel explained quickly. "But we have no time. The Voidwalkers are breaking in. We need to reach my ship." "Your ship?" General Harris asked. "Where is it?" "Hidden beneath the ocean near where I first contacted Olivia." Agent Winters stepped forward. "That's 30 miles from here. With those things up there, we'll never make it." Another explosion rocked the facility. The lights flickered. "Sir," a soldier called out, "they've breached level 1. "We have underground tunnels," General Harris said. "They lead to a hangar with helicopters. If we can get there, we might be able to fly you to the ocean." Nirel nodded. "Lead the way." As they ran through concrete hallways, Olivia struggled to understand what had happened. Did I really float? What was that voice coming out of me? "The archive briefly took control," Nirel explained as they ran. "It means the connection is strong, but you're not ready for full activation." "Ready for what? What happens when it fully activates?" Nirel gave her a serious look. "You will become something new. Neither fully human nor fully Kalian. A bridge between our species." They reached a large metal door. General Harris pressed his hand against a scanner, and the door slid open to reveal a long tunnel lit by dim emergency lights. "This way," he said. "The tunnel runs for 2 miles. It will take us to the hangar." As they moved through the tunnel, they could hear distant explosions behind them. The Voidwalkers were destroying everything as they searched. "What do these Voidwalkers look like?" Olivia asked. "They have no fixed form," Nirel said. "They exist, partly in dimensions humans cannot perceive. What you will see is only a shadow of what they truly are." Agent Winters, who was running beside them, looked scared for the first time. "And they want what's inside Olivia?" "They want the archive," Nirel confirmed. "It contains not just our history and culture, but the coordinates to our homeworld and the secrets of our technology. If they extract it from Olivia, they will gain weapons capable of consuming entire star systems." "Why did your people hide it on Earth?" Olivia asked. "We were desperate. Our ships were damaged. We needed a safe place to store our legacy while we fought a final battle against the Voidwalkers. We thought if we lost, at least some part of us would survive here." "And did you lose that battle?" General Harris asked. Nirel's face grew sad. "Yes, I am the last of my kind. The only survivor." They reached another door at the end of the tunnel. It opened to reveal a large underground hangar. Several helicopters sat ready. "Get the biggest one ready for takeoff," General Harris ordered his men, "and arm it with everything we've got." As soldiers ran to prepare the helicopter, a terrible screeching noise came from the tunnel behind them. It sounded like metal being torn apart, but with an unnatural echo that hurt their ears. "They're coming through the tunnel," Nirel warned. "We don't have much time." The soldiers worked quickly to prepare the helicopter. Olivia stood near Nirel, feeling scared but also strangely calm. The beacon was in her pocket now, still warm against her leg. "Will we make it to your ship?" she asked quietly. "We must," Nirel replied. "My ship, the Luminous Seeker, is our only hope of escaping this planet." "Escaping? You mean leaving Earth?" Nirel nodded. "The Voidwalkers will not stop until they have the archive. They will destroy your entire world to get it if necessary." This made Olivia feel sick. "But my family, my friends, if we succeed we can save them all," Nirel promised. "But first we must save ourselves." The screeching noise grew louder. The door at the end of the tunnel began to glow red, then white, as if it was being heated from the other side. "They're melting through!" Agent Winters shouted. "Helicopter ready, sir!" A pilot called to General Harris. "Everyone on board now," the general ordered. They ran to the helicopter. As Olivia climbed in, she looked back at the tunnel door. It was now glowing white-hot, bulging outward as something pushed against it. The helicopter's engines roared to life. The large blades began to spin, creating a powerful wind inside the hangar. "The roof doors," General Harris shouted. A soldier pressed a button and the ceiling of the hangar began to split open, revealing the night sky above. Just as the helicopter lifted off, the tunnel door exploded inward. Through the smoke and debris, Olivia caught a glimpse of something that made her blood run cold. It was like a living shadow, but with depth and substance. It moved in ways that hurt her eyes to watch, as if it was folding through dimensions that shouldn't exist. The helicopter rose through the opening in the roof. Below them, the shadowy figures poured into the hangar. Some of them began to stretch upward, reaching for the helicopter. "Go! Go!" General Harris shouted to the pilot. The helicopter shot forward, away from the facility. Looking back, Olivia saw dark shapes rising into the air, following them. "They can fly," she gasped. "They can move through space in ways you cannot understand," Nirel said. "But this aircraft is faster than they can travel in your atmosphere." The helicopter sped through the night sky, heading toward the ocean. In the distance, Olivia could see the lights of her small coastal town. "My home," she whispered. Nirel put a hand on her shoulder. "I'm sorry you were pulled into this war. Your ancestors agreed to help us, but you had no choice. Did you know it would be me when you started searching?" "No. I only knew the genetic marker would be passed down through generations. I've been searching for the right carrier for 3 centuries. 300 years? Agent Winters looked shocked. "How old are you?" "By your counting, I am 742 years old," Nirel said. "My people live long lives compared to humans." The helicopter began to shake as they hit turbulence. Or at least that's what Olivia thought at first. Then she saw the pilot's frightened face. "Something's following us," he shouted. "It's fast." They all looked out the windows. Dark shapes moved through the clouds around them, keeping pace with the helicopter. "They've found us," Nirel said grimly. Suddenly, something hit the helicopter hard. The aircraft tilted sideways. Warning alarms blared in the cockpit. "We're losing altitude," the pilot called out. "Something damaged the tail rotor." They began to descend rapidly. The ocean was visible now, dark and vast below them. "Can you make it to the water?" Nirel asked urgently. "I think so," the pilot said, fighting with the controls. "But we'll crash. Aim for these coordinates," Nirel said, giving him numbers. "My ship is there." The helicopter spun as it fell, making it hard to stay in their seats. Olivia held tightly to her safety harness, her heart pounding with fear. "When we hit the water," Nirel told her, "the beacon will guide my ship to us. Hold it tightly and don't let go. Olivia pulled the beacon from her pocket. It was glowing, brightly now, pulsing in time with her heartbeat. "Brace for impact," the pilot shouted. The helicopter hit the ocean with a tremendous splash. Water immediately began pouring in through cracks in the fuselage. "Everyone out," General Harris ordered. They unbuckled and moved toward the door. The helicopter was sinking quickly. Agent Winters forced the door open and cold seawater rushed in. "Swim," Nirel shouted. "My ship is coming." They jumped into the dark water. The helicopter sank beneath the waves behind them. Olivia held the beacon above the water. Its blue light cut through the darkness. "Look," Agent Winters pointed. Something was moving beneath the surface, something large and glowing with the same blue light as the beacon. It rose toward them, breaking the surface nearby. It was like no ship Olivia had ever seen. It looked almost alive, with smooth curves and a surface that seemed to ripple like water. It glowed with soft blue light. "The luminous seeker," Nirel said with relief. "Quickly, everyone on board." A section of the ship opened, creating an entrance. They swam toward it, climbing aboard just as dark shapes began to emerge from the water around them. "Close," Nirel commanded. The opening sealed shut. Inside, the ship was dry and warm, lit with the same blue light. The walls looked organic, almost like they were breathing. "Welcome aboard," Nirel said. "Now we run." Inside the luminous seeker, Olivia stared in wonder. The ship's interior had no sharp edges or straight lines. Everything curved and flowed like water frozen in time. The walls glowed with soft blue light that shifted and moved as if alive. "This way," Nirel said, leading them deeper into the ship. General Harris and Agent Winters followed cautiously, their eyes wide with amazement. The pilot and 2 soldiers who had made it off the helicopter stayed close behind them. "Your ship is alive," Olivia said, noticing how the floor seemed to adjust to their footsteps. "Yes, in a way," Nirel confirmed. "The luminous seeker is a living entity. It was grown, not built." They entered a large circular room. In the center was what looked like a pool of liquid silver. Around it, curved panels floated in the air without any visible support. "This is the control center," Nirel explained. She stepped toward the silver pool. As her hand touched the liquid, it began to glow. The floating panels lit up with symbols similar to those Olivia had seen when she touched the beacon. "Mara," Nirel called out. "Initiate emergency launch sequence." A voice filled the room, gentle and musical. "Launch sequence initiated, Nirel. Voidwalker vessels detected in orbit. 6 hunter ships surrounding Earth." "Who is that?" Agent Winters asked, looking around for the speaker. "Mara is the ship's consciousness," Nirel explained. "She has been my only companion for 3 centuries. The ship began to vibrate. Through the walls, which had become partially transparent, Olivia could see the ocean water around them starting to bubble and churn. "Hold on," Nirel warned. "Ascent can be disorienting for first-time travelers." The vibration increased. Olivia felt a strange pressure in her ears, then a sensation of rising very fast. Her stomach lurched as if she was in a high-speed elevator. "We are leaving Earth's atmosphere," Mara announced. "Voidwalker vessels have detected our launch. They are moving to intercept." "Maximum speed, Mara," Nirel ordered. "Set course for the red planet." "Mars?" General Harris asked. "Why are we going to Mars?" "There is an ancient Kalian outpost hidden beneath the surface," Nirel said. "It contains technology that can help us activate the archive safely." Olivia looked down at the beacon in her hands. It pulsed more rapidly now, almost urgently. The beacon seemed anxious, she said. Nirel glanced at it. "It senses the danger. It wants to complete its purpose." The ship suddenly jerked to one side. Alarms sounded throughout the control room. "Voidwalker energy signature detected," Mara reported. "They have fired upon us." The transparent wall showed space outside. Earth was already a blue-green sphere below them. Above, dark shapes moved against the stars. angular vessels that seemed to absorb light rather than reflect it. Evasive maneuvers, Narration commanded, plunging her hands deeper into the silver pool. The ship responded instantly, twisting and turning in ways that should have been impossible. Olivia felt no change in gravity, despite the wild movements. How are we not feeling? These turns? Agent Winters asked, amazed. The ship creates its own gravitational field, Narration explained. It keeps us stable while allowing for rapid directional changes. Another blast hit them harder this time. The lights flickered. Hull integrity at 87%, Mara reported. 3 Voidwalker vessels in pursuit. Nirel's face showed concentration. As she worked with the ship, her hands moved through the silver pool, creating patterns and ripples. Preparing for spacefold, she announced. Everyone remained still. Spacefold, Olivia repeated. What's that? A way to travel faster than your... Physics allows, Narration said. We will briefly exist in multiple locations at once, then collapse back into reality closer to Mars. The idea made Olivia's head spin. Before she could ask more questions, the ship began to hum with a deep vibration that she felt in her bones. Space, fold initiating in 3, 2, 1. Mara counted down. The world outside the ship seemed to stretch, stars becoming lines of light. Olivia felt as if her body was being pulled in all directions at once. Then, with a snap that she felt rather than heard, everything returned to normal. Spacefold complete, Mara announced. We have reached Mars orbit. Voidwalker vessels temporarily evaded. Through the transparent walls, Olivia could now see the red planet below them. It looked much larger than she had ever seen it in photographs. That was incredible, General Harris said, looking shaken but impressed. The Voidwalkers will find us again soon, Narration warned. Their ships can track the energy signature of the archive. We must reach the outpost quickly. The ship descended toward Mars, entering its thin atmosphere. The red surface grew closer, revealing vast canyons and ancient riverbeds. The outpost is located beneath the South Polar ice cap, Narration explained. It was built there because the ice contains water, which our technology needs. As they approached the polar region, the landscape below changed from red dust to white ice. The ship slowed, hovering over a particularly flat section. Scanning for entrance markers, Mara reported. Markers located. The entrance is still intact. A beam of blue light shot from the ship down to the ice below. Where it touched, the ice began to melt, revealing a dark opening beneath. The outpost has been dormant for over 1,000 years, Narration said. We must hope its systems are still functional. The ship descended through the opening, entering a vast underground cavern. As they touched down, Olivia could see ancient structures built into the walls of the cavern. They had the same flowing, organic design as Nirel's ship. We will need to continue on foot, Narration said. The ship cannot fit through the inner passages. What about air? Agent Winters asked. We can't breathe the Martian atmosphere. The outpost maintains its own environment, Narration assured her. There will be breathable air inside. They exited the ship through an opening that formed in its side. The air in the cavern was cold but breathable, just as Narration had promised. Their breath formed small clouds in front of their faces. Wait, Narration said, walking toward an archway carved into the cavern wall. As they approached, ancient symbols on the arch began to glow with blue light. Narration placed her hand against a panel beside the arch. It recognizes me, she said with relief. The systems are still active. The panel scanned her hand, then a door slid open within the arch. Narration gestured for Olivia to go first. The archive must enter before any others, she explained. Olivia stepped forward cautiously. As she crossed the threshold, something unexpected happened. The doorway lit up with brilliant blue light. A musical tone rang out, echoing through the cavern. What's happening? She asked, alarmed. Narration looked surprised. The outpost, and it's recognizing you. Not just the archive, but you personally. How is that possible? This place is 1,000 years old. I wasn't even born. I don't know, Narration admitted. This shouldn't be happening. They continued through the doorway, followed by the others. Inside, they found long corridors with the same organic design as the ship. Lights activated automatically as they walked, illuminating their path. "Power systems still work," Nirel said, sounding amazed. After all this time, they reached another door, larger than the first. It opened as they approached, revealing a vast circular chamber. In the center stood a crystalline structure that reached from floor to ceiling. It glowed with soft blue light. "The core," Nirel whispered reverently. "The heart of the outpost." As Olivia entered the chamber, the crystalline structure pulsed brightly. The beacon in her hand responded, glowing with matching intensity. "Place the beacon in the receptacle," Nirel instructed, pointing to a small pedestal near the core. Olivia approached the pedestal. There was a depression in its center, perfectly sized for the beacon. She placed it carefully in the hole. Immediately the beacon merged with the pedestal, becoming part of it. Light flowed from it into the core, which began to pulse faster. "What happens now?" Olivia asked. "The core will analyze the archive within you," Nirel explained. "It will determine if you are ready for full activation." Screens of light appeared in the air around them, displaying Kalian symbols and diagrams. Nirel studied them, her expression growing increasingly confused. "This can't be right," she muttered. "What is it?" Agent Winters asked. "According to these readings, Olivia's DNA is changing. It's not just storing the archive anymore. It's adapting, becoming partially Kalian." "What?" Olivia felt panic rising in her chest. "You said I was just carrying information." "That was the original plan," Nirel said, still reading the displays. "But something has changed. The genetic markers were designed to be stable, unchanging. But in your case, they've become active. They're rewriting parts of your DNA." "Is that dangerous?" General Harris asked. "I don't know," Nirel admitted. "This has never happened before." The core suddenly emitted a high-pitched tone. A beam of light shot out from it, striking Olivia in the chest. She gasped, feeling a warm sensation spread throughout her body. "Olivia!" Agent Winters moved to help her, but Nirel held her back. "Don't interrupt," she warned. "The process has begun." Olivia felt strange sensations coursing through her. Her vision changed, allowing her to see spectrums of light that had been invisible before. Her hearing sharpened, picking up sounds that shouldn't exist in the quiet chamber. Most strangely, memories that weren't her own began to flood her mind. She saw worlds she had never visited, people she had never met. She understood languages she had never learned. Olivia and Nirel stood connected, their minds joined as one. Through this link, centuries of knowledge flowed between them. Olivia learned the true history of the Kalians, their rise among the stars, and their tragic fall at the hands of the Voidwalkers. She saw Nirel's long journey, searching for centuries as generations of humans lived and died. She felt Nirel's loneliness, her determination, and finally her hope when she detected Olivia's unique genetic signature. In turn, Nirel experienced Olivia's human life, her childhood by the ocean, her love of marine biology, her quiet determination to understand the natural world. She felt Olivia's human emotions, so different from Kalian feelings yet somehow familiar. 10 minutes until Voidwalker breach, Mara's voice announced, pulling them partially back to reality. "The transformation is accelerating," Nirel said, her voice echoing strangely as if speaking from both their mouths at once. "But we need more time." Through their shared consciousness, Olivia accessed the outpost systems. She understood now how the ancient technology worked. It wasn't mechanical but biological, grown rather than built, like Nirel's ship. "The outpost defenses," Olivia said. "We can activate them." Together, they directed their combined will toward the core. The crystalline structure responded, sending pulses of energy through the walls and floor. Throughout the outpost, dormant systems awakened. Agent Winters watched in amazement as sections of the walls transformed, extending outward like living things. "What's happening?" "Defense systems," Nirel, Olivia answered in unison. "The outpost is protecting itself." In the entrance cavern, General Harris and his soldiers had set up a makeshift barricade. They looked up in surprise as the cavern walls began to change, forming shield-like structures. "Fall back to the inner chambers," the general ordered, recognizing that something powerful was happening. Just as they retreated, the ice above the cavern shattered. Dark shapes poured through the opening. The Voidwalkers had arrived. They moved like living shadows, their forms shifting and changing as they descended. The outpost's defenses engaged immediately. Beams of blue energy shot from the newly formed structures, striking the Voidwalkers. Some of the shadows dissipated, but others continued forward, adapting to the attacks. Back in the core chamber, Olivia and Nirel felt the Voidwalkers' presence. Through their mental link, they shared a single thought. "We need to complete the transformation now." "The convergence sphere," Nirel thought to Olivia. "It's our only chance." In the center of the core, a section opened to reveal a smaller crystalline object, a perfect sphere that glowed with intense blue light. "What is it?" Agent Winters asked, seeing the sphere appear. "The heart of the archive," Nirel explained, her voice more normal now as she partially separated from Olivia. "It's not just for storage. It's designed to broadcast the archive across the galaxy." "Broadcast?" Winters looked confused. "To whom?" "To any being with Kalian DNA," Olivia answered. Understanding now, there are others out there, descendants of Kalians who escaped and interbred with other species. The sphere will call them home. A massive explosion shook the outpost. Dust fell from the ceiling. "The inner defenses have been breached," Mara reported. Voidwalkers approaching the core chamber. General Harris and his men rushed in, sealing the door behind them. "Those things are unstoppable," he reported, his face pale. "Our weapons do nothing, and the outpost defenses only slow them." "Down." "We need to activate the convergence sphere now," Nirel said urgently. "It's our only hope." She guided Olivia toward the floating sphere. "Place your hands on it," she instructed. "Your transformed DNA will activate it." Olivia reached out, her fingers now glowing slightly with the same luminescence as Nirel's skin. As she touched the sphere, it responded instantly, spinning rapidly and glowing brighter. "Yes," Nirel whispered. "It recognizes you." The door to the chamber shuddered as something powerful struck it from the other side. Metal groaned and bent. "Inward! They're coming through!" Agent Winters shouted, drawing her weapon though she knew it would be useless. "Focus, Olivia," Nirel urged. "Complete the activation sequence." Through their mental link, Nirel showed Olivia how to direct her thoughts into the sphere. Olivia concentrated, visualizing the patterns Nirel shared with her. The sphere responded, spinning faster, its light changing from blue to white. The core pulsed in rhythm with it, the energy building throughout the chamber. With a final crash, the door gave way. Dark shapes poured into the room. The Voidwalkers had arrived. They moved like living darkness, their forms constantly shifting as if they existed in multiple dimensions at once. General Harris and his soldiers fired their weapons. The bullets passed through the shadows with no effect. Agent Winters backed, toward Olivia and Nirel, trying to protect them. One Voidwalker, larger than the others, moved forward. Unlike the others, this one had a more defined shape, almost humanoid but with proportions that seemed wrong somehow. Its surface rippled like oil on water, reflecting distorted images of everyone in the room. 3 centuries of hunting, it spoke, its voice like stones grinding together. "Only to find our prey waiting with the prize." Nirel stepped between the creature and Olivia. "You're too late, Kresh. The archive is already awakening." "Kresh?" Olivia asked through their mental link. "The Voidwalker commander," Nirel explained, silently. "He led the attack that destroyed my homeworld." Kresh moved closer, his form seeming to absorb the light around him. "Give us the human, Kalian, and perhaps we will let you live a while longer. The last of a dead race." "Never," Nirel said defiantly. She raised her hands and energy flowed from her fingertips, a defensive technique Olivia now understood through their shared consciousness. The energy formed a barrier between them and the Voidwalkers. "Keep working." On the sphere, Nirel told Olivia mentally, I'll hold them back as long as I can. Olivia continued the activation sequence, her hands moving over the sphere's surface. She could feel it responding, building toward some critical threshold. Kresh struck Nirel's barrier. The energy field flickered, but held. The other Void Walkers spread out looking for weaknesses in the defense. You cannot win this fight, Kresh said. You are one, we are many. She is not alone, Agent Winters declared, standing beside Nirel. Though she had no special powers, her courage was admirable. General Harris and his men joined them, forming a line of defense. Whatever you're doing back there, he called to Olivia, do it faster. The sphere was now spinning so rapidly it was almost a blur. Symbols appeared in the air around it, the language of the Keelians, which Olivia now understood perfectly. It's working, she realized. The broadcast is beginning. But Kresh had noticed what she was doing. With a gesture, he sent a pulse of dark energy through Nirel's barrier. The force knocked everyone back, including Nirel. Kresh moved toward Olivia, his shadowy hand reaching for the sphere. The archive belongs to us now, he hissed. Olivia stood her ground. In the past few days, she had changed from an ordinary marine biologist to something extraordinary. She felt the power of the archive flowing through her, the knowledge of an entire civilization at her fingertips. No, she said simply. It doesn't. As Kresh reached for her, Olivia completed the final activation sequence. The convergent sphere released a pulse of energy so powerful it knocked everyone off their feet. The light it emitted was blinding, forcing even the Void Walkers to retreat. In that moment of convergence, Olivia became neither fully human nor fully Kalian, but something new, a bridge between species. The power that radiated from her was unlike anything seen before. Kresh tried to approach again, but the energy flowing from Olivia forced him back. His shadowy form began to dissipate under the pure light of the archive. This is not over, hybrid, he snarled as his form broke apart. We will return. The other Void Walkers retreated, their shadows disappearing through the walls, as if they had never been solid. The pulse from the convergent sphere expanded outward, passing through the outpost, through the planet and out into space. It carried a message encoded in the very fabric of reality, a call to all beings with even traces of Kalian DNA. Nirel got to her feet, staring at Olivia in wonder. You did it, she whispered. The broadcast is complete. Olivia nodded, feeling different now. The transformation had completed during the convergence. She looked at her hands, which now had the same subtle glow as Nirel's. Her senses were sharper, able to perceive spectrums of reality that had been invisible before. What happens now? Agent Winters asked, looking between them. Now, Nirel said, we wait for answers. They didn't have to wait long. Within hours, the first responses began arriving. Signals from thousands of worlds where descendants of the scattered Kalians had been living, unaware of their heritage. Some were almost fully Kalian, hidden among other species. Others carried only fragments of Kalian DNA, just enough to receive the call. All of them responded to the beacon that Olivia had activated. Using the outpost's communication systems, they made contact with these distant relatives. The news spread quickly. The Kalians were not extinct. They could return, rebuild, and perhaps even reclaim their homeworld. 3 months later, Olivia stood on a hillside overlooking the ocean near her old home in Bay Ridge. The small town had changed since she left.